Greetings, I am Raina Chambliss, and this is my English 114 speech. 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, and love begins at home. Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, and Mother Teresa delivered those lines that will forever be in the hearts and minds of many. And all were spoken during a speech. So to continue in that tradition, I'm here to present to you my speech about speeches. Throughout our lifetime, we will hear many speeches on a number of topics at various events and occasions. We begin hearing them early on in school at assemblies and graduations, on television at award shows and political campaigns, the best man giving his wedding toast, a motivational speaker at a work conference, a pastor at a worship service on any given Sunday at any church USA can all be found with a speech to give. Speeches go back in history as far back as the biblical times, and while we may never know exactly when the first speech was given, a very notable speech given during that time was in Palestine at Mount Sinai when Moses returned with the 10 Commandments from God. He delivered them to the Israelites, and that information is still used today. In Understanding Communication, Douglas Hohen informs that speeches are a method of communication unique to human beings. Taking that into consideration, Hohen also writes, when speaking, one is creating a special relationship between you and your listeners. When you build such relationships, you have the chance to make a difference in the world. Speeches are mainly written and delivered to inform, persuade, and entertain. They can also inspire and commemorate. We encounter speeches regularly from people who are looking to accomplish one or more of those goals. For example, teachers or professors give lectures or speeches to inform. Politicians to inform or persuade. Late-night talk show hosts to entertain. A motivational speaker will give a speech to inspire. A pastor or preacher to inspire, inform, or commemorate. An infomercial host to inform, persuade, or entertain. You may even find your grocery checkout clerk with a speech about the day's special or the store's discount program. One of the most important and recognizable speeches given in the United States of America is the State of the Union Address. It is given annually by the current president. It tells the American people what the president's plans are and what direction he wants the nation to go in. Originally called the President's Annual Message, in 1801, Thomas Jefferson decided not to personally deliver his speech because he felt it favored England's speech from the throne. At that time, Americans were not fond of the British monarchy, and he did not want his speech to sound pompous like theirs. So Jefferson wrote his speech, and it was delivered by aides to Congress. The annual message was not delivered in person again until 1913 by President Woodrow Wilson. In 1923, the first annual message was delivered on the radio by Calvin Coolidge. In 1941, Franklin Roosevelt changed the name from the annual message to the State of the Union Address. In 1947, the first State of the Union Address was televised and given by Harry Truman. In 2002, George W. Bush was able to be seen giving his speech by live webcast. And then again in 2004, he made another milestone by giving the first high-definition State of the Union Address. And in 2010, 48 million people watched President Obama give his address. Chris Winston, a former George H.W. Bush aide, who in 1989 became the first female presidential chief speechwriter, points out that the State of the Union Address is almost never a memorable speech. Once in a while, there's a memorable line or a memorable action. When a speech is given, Hohen tells us that often the audience is gathered for a common concern or reason. Knowing that, the speaker has a greater opportunity to hone in even the more on their purpose of informing, persuading, or entertaining. In any speech, what should be the most important thing is what will be said. A speaker can be eloquent, but should give much more thought to the message being sent. As life goes on, we will continue to be informed, persuaded, and entertained or inspired by speeches at various occasions. Much like Dr. Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream," speeches may potentially leave a line or phrase ingrained in our memories. Lastly, since I opened in Gettysburg, I will end there with one of my favorite speeches delivered by Denzel Washington as Coach Henry Boone in Remember the Titans. Thank you and enjoy.